Good morning. It's Monday morning, April 13th, and today we're going to go a little bit more into two-dimensional drawing. As you guys can remember, as far as if you have something that's rectangular and this part is parallel to your plane, the way you see it, that would be in 1 point. But if you see the edge closer to you, then that's going to be in 2 point. All right, let's begin. Okay, so you got to pretend like your still life is actually in front of you, and you can go around your house and find some boxes, maybe a Kleenex box, maybe one of those Amazon boxes that have been coming with all the packages and things in it since we can't go shopping. But we're going to talk about how you find the angles when you don't know how to find the angles. So we have our pretend still life here so that you guys can see it down instead of up in front of me. And we have this middle block that is at eye level because you can't see the top or the bottom. Then you have the block on top where you can see just a little bit of the bottom. So that would be like in looking at it from a worm's eye view. And the bottom one, you can see the top. So it's like looking at it from a bird's eye view. And we're going to talk about how to measure and find those angles. These would go back in perspective like we did when we did our 2-point perspective, but sometimes the lines are way far past our picture. And so sometimes it's really hard. Like if you were on a hill, you were outside drawing a barn and the barn was down on the bottom of the hill, you couldn't run down to measure those angles. And so you have to have a way of doing that by just looking at it. So we're going to pretend that we're looking at this in a real still life, and you can take 2 pieces of paper, just cut them so that they have 2 straight edges, and the idea is to put one edge on a straight part of your drawing and put the other one to see the angle, and you take your thumb and you move it back and forth until that matches. It helps me to close one eye and to be able to look at that. So you can move it and you can take the angle of the top or the side, but as far as you just move that to make it match, and then you hold on to it and you bring it down to your paper. So for instance, if we were going to do this block, all right, we wouldn't actually touch it to it. We would just hold it up to look at it, and we would like set it down, and this would be our known because that's the straight edge, and you would be able to match this piece of paper so that you can figure out what angle, hold it, bring it over to your paper, and draw that angle. Then you would take and do the same thing. You'd go from your known to your unknown, line it up on the straight edge, you'd line it up on this, but you would be doing it again, not touching the picture, but holding it up with your one eye closed and kind of matching it to make sure that you get that angle right. And you'd bring it over, line it up for your known, and make your unknown. So once we have that, we can draw that first box because we know that that was pretty much a cube. All right, so we're coming down here like this. Okay, we have that box. Now this one was in 1-point perspective because see, this line is parallel to our horizon line. So look at this. See how that's straight? And there's our horizon line. But this one, so this one is in 1 point. These two are in 2 point because this edge is straight to them, to us. In other words, it's pointed out. So now we're going to take and we're going to figure out how to make those. So we can say this line is a little bit below that and coming in, so it doesn't have to be exactly, nobody's going to know exactly where it is. We're going to make a straight line that's approximately that distance. These lines, this one right here, these 3 would all match to a vanishing point this way, and this line right here, this one, and this one all match this direction, and then this line, and this line all match that way. So again, we have to figure out what those angles are. So we would go from our known, which is our straight line, and we would measure out the angle, hold our thumb and bring it over here, and draw that angle going out that direction. And the same the other way. So like if you were looking at it, you'd have it up here and you'd move it around until it matched as close as you could make it match, and you would hold it and bring it over to draw this angle. All right, so now we're going to come up here, and we know that this angle is coming right underneath that one. So we've got to have this up high enough so that it does that. All right, so you know that all three of these have to meet. So if you don't want to measure the next angle, you can bring it up to make it parallel, and then just bring it down slightly. So in other words, we're bringing it up parallel and bringing it down slightly so that all three of those points could match. So you basically have something like this. You're going to have if you could see those points, you have an edge, and you have this edge, and you have this top one that's going to meet at the same point. All of these are going to meet at the same point. And then you have all of that side meeting at the same point. So this direction and this one, all three of those are all matching at the same point. We're going to bring it up and slightly down. And we're going to figure out where we want our back side, which is going to be a little bit past that. Okay, now we're going to go the other direction. We're going to go parallel, bring it up and slightly down, because we know that that's going to match. It's going to match all together. If we had it saying parallel, it would never match. Okay, this line, we're going to go up to where we think that edge is going to be and bring slightly down. We're going to take this one, go up to where that is, and then bring it down. And we have a box underneath. We're going to do the same thing at the top. And we're going to figure out where our measurement are. We're going to line it up with the known to the unknown. This is kind of hard to do on a piece of paper, so you would actually be like looking at the subject matter instead of just a picture of it. And you would lay it down to find your angle. Go from your known to your unknown. Sorry about that. I hit the object that was holding our camera to our unknown. And then we know that this line is going up between there, so we can take and say, all right, we know that that's going up, and we know this other one's going off. So we're going to go all the way down to where it's going to match. And then we're going to go slightly up this time because these three have to match. Now, you can't really see that one back there, but that line going back there has to be all three. This one, and this one have to be able to meet at a point. So you can take this one, go down to where that is, and move it up so that it could conceivably all match. And then we can't see that other side, but this line, and where you can see it through the block, all would have to match this other direction. So then you have 1 point, 2 point, 2 point, and you begin to start adding your shading so that you can be able to start adding to the illusion of 3 dimensions. And so when it's underneath, you obviously, that's going to be darker because it has a shadow over it. So we have a light and a medium. light and a medium. This block is blue, so it's going to be slightly darker than the other, just so because that value is darker. Medium and dark. So when you set it up, if you can sit next to a window where you can have some distinct lights and darks, that would be kind of nice to be able to give you guys a option to be able to kind of look at your shadowing, to kind of add to the illusion of 3-dimension. She's a little darker right down at the bottom. As far as you'll see a little bit of a real dark just to kind of ground your still life. And I think you guys get the idea. Okay, have a great Monday and practice your 2-dimensional drawing. Get your little grandchildren's blocks out, set them up, or set up some books or anything else you can find around your house that is rectangular in nature. All right, bye-bye. Don't forget to wash your hands.